back to Unboxing the Underground. Coming at you this week again with another DVD Blu-ray show and tell of a very specific genre. In this case, it is the Sexploitation erotic adult cinema genre. Some of the hornier, for lack of a better term, titles that I own in my collection. Just 10 titles. Again, I'm not going to go through every last thing I have. I've got stuff up there, stuff back here. It would be a very long video, but in time we will go through more of my collection. But for this week, just 10 titles, some of the more provocative and explicit titles that I own. Again, some hard to find, some rarer than others, but all within that kind of adult-centric genre. So we'll start out with more of a modern film. This did get a re-release recently, but this is the original release. I want to say I got this from Diabolic. This is Portraits of Andrea Palmer. Again, please forgive the autofocus. There we go. This is a really rough kind of foray into the world of like modern camming, and it's got a really great performance in it at the center of it by Katrina Zova. This is directed by Jay Houston and Jay Lyons, and shot by Joe Rubin of Vinegar Syndrome. Really, really rough film. It's like the ghosts of the 1970s and 60s kind of like sprung up from the grave and created this really visceral wallow in the adult industry is basically what this is. I highly recommend this film. You cannot stream this anywhere. It will never be available on streaming. It's way too explicit. Massacre Video re-released this. I don't know who put this out initially. In fact, does not appear to be any distributor on here at all, other than Tomorrow Productions, but I'm assuming that's the company that made it. This is, as it says on the back, for adults only, very much so. But very provocative, modern sexploitation, erotic film. Highly recommend it. Worth your time. So next up, this was a recent first-time viewing for me. I had a blast with this film. I'm not familiar too much with Jess Franco's work, but this is Lorna the Exorcist, which kind of follows suit with a lot of the trashy 70s Exorcist knockoffs that came out at the time to capitalize on the massive popularity of the original Friedkin film. But this is just a ridiculous, I guess, kind of erotic retelling of that. It has a really crazy dream logic behind it, hallucinatory scenes, things that just don't make a whole lot of sense, but if you kind of go with it, and you're kind of in the right headspace, it's a really, really fun time. Everyone in the cast is supremely beautiful, and it's lovingly shot in the way that Jess Franco only can kind of do it. This was put out by Kino Cult, which is like their cult label. Beautiful transfer. I mean, very soft. The original elements just never are going to look that great, but I highly recommend this film if you have not seen it. Really fun time. And again, you have to kind of go with it to sort of be on its wavelength, but check it out. So this is another one through Vinegar Syndrome, kind of a not safe for work title. This is La Femme Objet, which is basically like, I'll just read you the back of it, but I don't want to butcher what I think this film is. La Femme Objet is a masterpiece from the golden age of French pornographic cinema. It's an audacious scenario, and its magnificent cinematography highlight Marilyn Jess's unforgettable performance. Thanks to the success of the film in movie theaters, she became the new star of X-rated cinema. Yeah, this is a trip. I believe this is still available. I tried to get the slipcover, which is much more artistically pleasing than I guess this picture is. Not that I don't like this picture, but this is something that is really worth your time. Again, Vinegar Syndrome is very careful with sort of what they put out now through their sister label in terms of erotic cinema, but this, I believe, came out before any of their offshoots. So check this one out if you can get your hands on it. I believe it's still in print. La Femme Objet. Switching it up here, probably one of my personal favorites in the stack that I have for this video. Have not seen many of his films. They were unavailable in the States for a while. Arrow put out a bunch in like mediocre transfers, but this is Tinto Brass's film of All Ladies Do It. This is a gorgeous 4K by Cult Epics. I don't want to say too much about this. Just go in blind. If you're in the mood for an adult kind of sex romp, this is really, really fun and lovingly restored. I mean, it's grainy, it's beautiful, colorful. It kind of is one of the nicer transfers I've seen of a film of this age. This is from 1992, and this is just a ridiculous kind of ode to like sexual freedom, and it touches on all sorts of things that I will leave you to discover, but I highly recommend it. And if you're looking for a blind buy, I mean, this would probably be the one. These are not cheap. This was like $40 at the time. They also put out his other films, Cheeky and Frivolous Lola, which I have not picked up. But again, also in the same vein as this, these sort of sex romps where the leading lady is up close and personal the entire time and just lovingly photographed. And of course, Tinto Brass also did Caligula, which is a complete story in and of itself, but this is very much just a very specific foray into the world of Claudia Cole and her performance, so check this out. This is from Full Moon Features. This was a little weird. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's fun. It's certainly of the genre, but I don't know what I was expecting, but there just wasn't a lot to grab onto it. No pun intended. This is Swedish Boarding School Girls, which I think also goes by different titles, like 6 Swedish Boarding School Girls. There's a whole bunch of these. Full Moon Features put this out recently. Transfer's okay. There's not a single extra on it, but I had a fun time with it. I don't know if I would blind buy this again. A lot of these, you know, I kind of got them because of my interest in the genre. But these are okay. If you can get these cheaper, like, I mean, this will probably go down in price, and, like, it comes with this very nice slipcover that's impossible to get off, by the way. Very, very difficult to get this out without damaging the slipcover. But you could do worse. I mean, it's a fun Saturday night movie, but there's not much in the way of, like, plot or even memorable scenes or performances. It's just kind of wall-to-wall nudity, and, you know, it's okay. So this is a Code Red title. Truth be told, I don't know if the Olsen brothers had anything to do with this movie. I think it might just be a name only, or perhaps they just had the rights. And MGM and Kino put this out not that long ago. This is Christina Lindberg in Made in Sweden, which is really kind of a lovely travelogue, and I mean, I had a really fun time with this. It's just basically an erotic coming-of-age story, and, you know, if you're familiar with Christina Lindberg's work, you kind of know what to expect. But this goes for pretty cheap. I would recommend picking this up if you're in the mood for your introduction to her work. Everyone knows Thriller or Cruel Picture, but if you're looking for something a little bit lower key and minor key, this would be a great place to start with what she does. Check this one out. So going back to Vinegar Syndrome, this is also a 4K UHD from Peekarama. This is the one and only Sex World, which is a lovingly made and seemingly quite expensive adult picture. Really fun, futuristic kind of adult film. Very, very ridiculous, full of really wacky dialogue and memorable characters, and one of the most haunting, and when I say haunting, I mean it will knock it out of your head, theme songs that haunts this picture. This was also a blind buy. The transfer looks great. I don't know if the slipcover is still available, but it may be. Check this one out if you're in the mood for just something completely unapologetically smutty and 70s, full of just set piece after set piece of politically incorrect stuff and ridiculous dialogue. Check this one out. Summer Camp Girls. This is, I believe, also from Peekarama. Kind of this is like imagine like a summer camp horror film, but with no horror and nothing, but like this is almost like a Meatballs, like an adult version of Meatballs or Summer Vacation. I enjoyed this film. I won't say too much, but there are some very memorable scenes in this film that even after all this time, I've only seen this film a couple times, I will not forget. Yeah, just a really kind of breezy, hardcore comedy. And finally, these two I will do together. I got these at an old FYE in New Jersey, and they didn't even ring up. These are from Seduction Cinema, which used to haunt late-night cable channels on Cinemax or Skinemax, depending upon what you want to call it. These are two films with Misty Monday, who, of course, also goes by Erin Brown, and is just synonymous with these kinds of softcore films. This is Lust for Dracula and Vampire Vixens. This one is shot on video. This one was shot on film. This is the better film. This one, really, your mileage will depend on how much you are charmed by, you know, bargain basement kind of production values, and there's a real stab at comedy here, and it's kind of annoying and not the funnest time if you don't know what to expect. This is a bit more of, if you've seen anything on Cinemax with Darian Kane or Misty Monday, this is a bit more in keeping with some of the higher production values of Seduction Cinema. This had a real budget. This was literally shot with like camcorders. This may have even been a Factory 2000 production or a Wave production, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the two of these. The Seduction Cinema stuff's harder and harder to find nowadays. They are available, but in increasingly smaller amounts and for higher prices. These were cheap, and it was an out of business, or going out of business FYE, and I couldn't pass these up. I got a lot of stares when I bought these, but I was like, I can't pass these up. They were brand new. And funnily enough, these, I believe, are manufactured on demand. That is a burned DVD, my friends. That is not a pressed DVD. That is a printed label and everything. Very charming, and bring you back to a time when these are the sorts of things that would play at 2:30 in the morning on Cinemax. And that's it for the Sexploitation Erotica show and tell. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. If you like this video, just hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, check it out for more. A lot of cool stuff coming up this month, more interviews and more unboxings from various underground distributors. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.